You should be studying now, but you're on YouTube instead. And it's not because you're a procrastinator. I'm Salim, I'm a med student, and I've also done an undergrad and postgraduate degree. And over my 7 years at uni, I've learned a lot about how to deal with procrastination so that I can get on with what I need to be doing. So I'll go through 6 tips on how you can do the same. So the first thing you need to realize is that procrastination is a habit. It's a series of behaviors we have that results in us avoiding our tasks. And this habit of procrastination acts as a stress relief to help us avoid and forget those tasks in the moment. But if you can identify those behaviors, then you can fix this bad habit and stop procrastination. So the rest of this video deals with common habits and how to change your behavior to deal with procrastination. And each point builds from the last, so stick around until the end. So I'll start with a question. How many times have you felt that just because a few hours went by where you didn't get anything done, you feel as though you wasted the whole day? People tend to see a day as one block of time, so it ends up as a good day or a bad day. And because of this, even if just 2 hours went by doing nothing, they end up procrastinating for the rest of the day. But you can see that makes it very black and white with nothing in the middle. So what you should do is phase your day. Divide your day up into smaller chunks with however many that makes sense for you. For me on weekdays, that's dividing it into an hour before med school, during med school until lunch, after lunch, before dinner and after dinner. Make a checklist of a maximum of 2 things for each phase of the day so that you have pressure to get it done in that time, and importantly as incentive, if you finish your task even before the end of a phase, use the rest of that phase to relax as a reward. For example, on weekends, if I finish my morning phase of gym and doing flashcards by 11:30 instead of 12, I'll use those 30 minutes to reply to my friends or just watch TV. And now the next part is a problem that most people have in the long term. So I'll ask another question. Do you have any goals to achieve in the next few months? Whether it's for studying or personal development, a mistake people make is thinking too much of these goals and being overwhelmed by them because they're too big or unrealistic. And that makes it difficult to figure out where to start from, so people procrastinate by being in this cycle of constantly planning without taking action. So what you need to do is take time for introspection. Think about where you are right now for this goal you want. What are you confident in? What are your priorities? And what can you do in this moment to help you work towards that goal, no matter how small? This stops you from thinking too much about the future or thinking about how much more you did last week compared to this week. For example, I'm studying for my med school exams that start next month, and there's a lot of content to get through, and my goal is to cover it all. And to be honest, I didn't get much work done last week, but that's fine, because today I can do 100 questions and read a topic or 2. So remind yourself that the past and the future doesn't matter now, since it's not in your control. Just think about the action you can take now to bridge the gap towards your goal. And this leads to the next problem and question. When you need to get something done, when do you feel the most resistance? Chances are you don't feel it at the middle of doing the task, and definitely not at the end. You feel it at the start, because the first few minutes of starting a task is the point of maximum resistance, since you have to shift from a point of doing nothing to doing something, and that requires a lot of energy. And I'm sure you've heard of the 5-minute rule, but I'm not going to tell you to act like you'll study for only 5 minutes, because you know it's a bit of a trick. So what you should do is minimize the friction to getting things done. The best way to do this is to ease yourself into what you have to do. And for studying, that could be starting with an easier topic or easier practice questions, and slowly building up from there. And something I find useful for studying my study sessions is our sponsor, Brilliant, the best online learning platform where you learn by doing, with thousands of interactive lessons in maths, sciences, and AI. Brilliant uses a first principles approach to learning, where it helps you understand subjects from the ground up with a visual and interactive approach, which has been proven to be 6 times more effective than watching lecture videos. And it's perfect for removing bad habits that lead to procrastination, because Brilliant replaces it with an easy to do good habit. Because in just a few minutes a day of using Brilliant, you can become better at building your critical thinking skills through problem solving, and build a healthy habit of focusing, which can transfer over to your studies, which is clearly better than using these minutes to mindlessly scroll on your phone. One course good for this that's especially relevant because of the increasing use of technology is programming with Python, where you can start building programs from your first day with a built-in drag and drop editor. It's a very hands-on approach to learn the essential coding elements, from loops and variables to nesting and conditionals, so that you can steadily develop a foundation to write complex programs. I've only covered the surface to what Brilliant has to offer, so to try everything free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/Salim Ahmed or click the link in the description. You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. And now the next point is an important distinction to make. One thing I make sure to do every day now is that before I sleep, I take a break. But there's a specific way to do this, which I'll get to. But before I did this, I had the idea that taking a break was being lazy and that I should always be doing something. But this isn't really a healthy way to getting things done, because you'd naturally burn burnt out over time. But the important thing you have to do is have the discipline to properly separate your breaks from your tasks. And what do I mean by this? When you're taking your breaks, you shouldn't be thinking about doing your tasks, and when you're doing your tasks, you shouldn't be thinking about your breaks. The time spent doing each should be focused only on themselves. And the best way to do this is by having tunnel vision for your current objective. Because when you do an exam, you aren't thinking of music or replying to your friends on your phone. You're thinking of the exam in front of you. And that's because you're isolated with this, with nothing else interfering. So you need to mimic this environment when you do your tasks, and do the same for when you relax. So when you study, block out your distractions, clear your desk, and have a good light source. When you relax, don't have any books near you, and don't relax at your desk on your phone, just go somewhere else. Creating this physical separation helps you create the mental separation too, so that you can effectively focus both when you work and when you rest. Now this next tip is quite popular because it works, and it builds on the last tip, and that's making sure to have accountability. But there's a specific way to do this that other people don't mention. People say that studying with friends helps because when you're alone, no one's there to tell you off to get off of your phone and study. But with friends or at the library, you see everyone else study, and that motivates you to keep up and do the same. But a better way to do this is to make sure that the people you share this accountability with are always the same people. This is because when you see them, you associate studying specifically with them, and that creates a habit where your mind is aware that it's time to focus and study. And to take this a step further, it's good to involve a reward after a study session. So that could be to just relax and talk to them after you're done with studying. And if you can't go out and meet friends, there's plenty of online study groups you can join for free, so try them out too. And the final problem is that even though you might be able to focus on your tasks at times, you can't keep this focus reliably, making it so that the progress you make is extremely inconsistent. And for many of you, it might be because you have ADHD or have symptoms of it, which makes it difficult to get things done. So in this video here, I'll talk about 10 tips you might not have heard of that can help you focus, especially when you need to get things done. So click the video to learn more.